Welcome to the Job Fair, where we give job seekers and employers the space to tell their own stories and bring our listeners along for the ride. We're your hosts, Doug and Shauna. Let's dive into it.
Welcome back, everyone. Job Fair, Season 2, Episode 6. Doug, 2025 is here.
6 rings like MJ. What up, Shauna? How's it going?
It's good. Excited to welcome this new year in and seeing what it has in store for everyone.
What a wild freaking ride. Oh, my goodness. Whew. 2024 going down for the books.
I know, and it went by so quickly.
We got a new president. Mic drop. But yeah, it's the holiday season. We come into a close. We open up a new chapter. And it's only right that we take some time to reflect and do a quick 2024 job market look back. What do y'all think about that?
I think that's a great idea. 2024, it went by quickly, but there's probably so much we can pull out and talk about, right?
Is there ever?
But as always, what's first, Doug? Agree to disagree. Here we come.
A business getting acquired can be good for those day one loyal customers.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I'm struggling to think of a good example here.
Let me add a little context here. Recently, Jersey Mike's, the beloved sandwich chain, was acquired by BlackRock. What do people tend to think about that and what's going to happen? Oh, their sandwich quality is going to go down the drain. That's what I mean by this statement.
Okay, first, sandwich quality going down the drain. Let's simmer back a little bit. But I'm going to go with an overall disagree. But I do think that when things like this happen, there tends to always be folks, and myself included, oh no, I don't know what's going to happen now. It's probably going to be more expensive. There's going to be lots of changes, maybe not as many discounts. And that happens a lot. So initial thought is always it's not a good thing. But when it actually plays out and changes do happen, they could be good because there could be more money behind it now.
Mm-hmm. I think that whenever this happens, the company acquiring the original company is seeing some kind of opportunity to squeeze more profit out of what's already being produced, period. They wouldn't do the deal if it didn't make sense or there wasn't a way for them to flip it. And the nature of business is you got to cut costs. You got to cut corners to make more money. That's just the rules of the game. It's just funny, though, with this Jersey Mike's thing, and they always do this when they acquire big companies. They retain the original CEO to make the customers feel like, oh, we still got your guy running the ship. Meanwhile, he got cashed out and he's a puppet at this point. So that's hilarious.
Yeah, that is true. That's true. All right. Okay. All right. So I'm going to take us back to 2024 as the theme of our topic today. But 2024 was the year that people embraced a slower, less hustle-focused lifestyle.
I disagree. I mean, I'm sure there are many who did do that, but I don't know. If anything, I would agree with this statement more if you said 2020, when things got more real for people, like mortality and people dying from COVID, and then you're like, oh, I got to enjoy life. But I think at this point, people are back into the swing of the hustle, at least in my circle. So I disagree.
Yeah, that's fair. So originally I was thinking that I agree with this statement because I do think that people took on more care for their mental health and more about their own self-needs. However, when I think about hustling, there are a lot of folks with side hustles and extra gigs and investing in things that they like to do. But I guess that wouldn't mean that there are less hustle focused. So I guess I'm actually going to agree with you, Doug. Wow. Okay, I'm starting.
Let me talk you out of it. No.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you.
Wow.
I know.
So you folded, huh? Not sticking.
I'm starting this year as a partnership with us, Doug.
Yeah, I'm more open-minded. I'm open to new perspectives and things. Cool. All right. Eggnog is still a relevant and mainstream holiday treat.
Ugh, pass. I'm not an eggnog fan. I know. I'm not in an eggnog circle. I don't know if this is a thing. It's still at stores. I know it's still purchased. My best friend loves eggnog. I was just looking at eggnog bread. Like you can make your own eggnog bread. So I'm going to go that it is still relevant, but I'm a hard pass on eggnog. What else is there? I mean, peppermint gingerbread's still there, but I think eggnog still has a solid spot there to be recognized.
Okay. I think that I have to have more of a global perspective, and not literally global, but at least beyond Brooklyn and Flatbush. I'm sure if I go into a grocery store in Columbus, Ohio, or Kansas, there's going to be a wall full of eggnog. That's just not my world, but I know it's still a thing. There's still a section in every grocery store in Brooklyn dedicated to it. I agree. I strongly agree with this statement. Now, we do see variations now aligned with the times. We're seeing more almond milk or non-dairy oat milk based eggnog. Coquito. Are you familiar with coquito? And it's a Puerto Rican version of eggnog, spiked. Yeah.
So that's what I was going to say. Eggnog has become more relevant in the alcohol circle too, but we're not eggnoggers apparently. You and I.
I'm not a dairy guy, so unfortunately not.
You're not a dairy guy.
I'm not gonna lie. I used to be though. I remember growing up that it was some kid told me that if you drink a whole cup of eggnog, you will immediately catch diabetes, and that kind of changed me forever. I'll never forget that. He was that serious.
Jeez. All right, let me wrap this up with in 2024. TikTok trends influence mainstream culture more than any other platform.
I gotta agree. Yeah, 100% agree. Strongly agree with this. Mic drop.
Yeah, I agree with you as well as the statement. TikTok set a lot of mainstream culture and trends. It'll be interesting though. The reason why I asked is because the ban has happened, and what does that mean?
Yeah. Can you just please buy it, Zuck? Please. No. Just stop it from going away and just buy it. That's going to be crazy if that happens, right?
Isn't Meta known for buying competitors?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm like, come on. Like, Zuck would be super goated if he pulled that off. All right. So we strongly agree with that statement. Great round, Shauna. Back to the show.
Okay. So as we mentioned before, with the end of this wild 2024 upon us, let's go into reviewing and reflecting on the most important things that happened in 2024 as it relates to the job market. And let's break down what the year taught us.
Yes, sounds like a plan. So as you all know, listeners, supporters, friends, Job Fair fam, we've been having these conversations all year long in real time on the show. Shout out to all you all who've been tapping in and subscribing. And we've been handling these topics or addressing them in chunks. But today, we think that it makes a lot of sense to just give you guys back this scrapbook, a nice and tidy recap of the biggest 2024 job market stories and trends. So without further ado, here are our big four. All right. Number one, post-pandemic layoff culture. Number two, the return to office, aka RTO, hybrid mandates. Number three, pre and post presidential election anxiety. And number four, last but not least, the mainstreaming of employee and employer AI leverage.
Oh, yeah, these are great topics. I am excited to take the first one. So post-pandemic layoff culture. This feels like it's beyond even 2024, but major players in tech, Meta, Google, everyone continues to still trim that workforce again and again after overhiring during COVID 2021, 2022, and was still feeling so many effects of that in 2024. I know we talked about it, but it even shifted to stealth. They're not even really calling them layoffs, but they're very stealth efforts for aggressive performance management and company restructuring initiatives.
Yeah. But the way I see it is these guys really cleaned house in 2020, late 2022 into 2023. It's like you hired a cleaner and then they convince you to make it a weekly thing. This just keeps spiffing up. This is an ongoing thing. It's a culture shift from the performance management to just random company restructurings. This is just the new norm. And they're keeping that fat trimmed off every quarter.
Yeah. What I will say though, from a individual perspective, it's no longer taboo in conversation to say I don't have a job or I'm unemployed or I got laid off. Now the layoff culture has become a norm. It's also reduced a little bit of anxiety, or if folks felt embarrassed to talk about that in social circles, which continues to open that conversation, but also give empathy out to a lot of folks who have been in that situation, or bring realness. Oh, I know other folks that have gone through it. I guess this small silver lining there, but
That's an
yeah.
interesting take. That might be a show episode in of itself, but is there still a stigma around being a victim of a layoff? I think the trauma is still there. I see it every time I open my LinkedIn app. But as far as storytelling that to your next employer, because it's so much more common now, is it still look like, man, something must be wrong with you? You got laid
Yeah,
off.
I can go back and forth on that because I have read different articles where some say that if you were laid off, they do think, oh, you were bottom part of performance, like automatically, even if that wasn't the reason, especially with some of the layoffs, it's more just the fact that it's overhired. AI is taking over. They don't need specific teams anymore. And so I don't know if we're there yet in terms of being comfortable and very open with recruiters. But I do think from a social community standpoint, it's reduced a little bit of stress and has opened up conversations more.
Nice. Yeah. We're all one happy family here. We take you as you are.
And so along a little piece of that, which is also the next topic for us, is return to office. Hybrid mandates, companies using return to office, Elon Musk, to make folks leave a job. It's not even being laid off. It's just, oh, you have to return to office. We'll accept your resignation as part of that. But do you remember when we thought that remote work was here to stay forever? We were singing the chorus, excited about it. That reality check really come into play. Many companies, especially in tech and finance, move to that hybrid mandatory setup.
Yep. These companies have just put those leashes around those toddlers' necks to get back in.
Oh, yeah, but I will say, and I've said it before, I have seen such an uptick in folks who are applying for roles take a hard stance. I'm remote only. I'm not going back into the office. I might do hybrid. So I think along with that push, there's also still a lot of people that are holding ground that can't go into the office anymore. And so they're looking for companies that support that. And so now a lot of that really strong or talented workforce is choosing themselves. And
I hope that people actually get those jobs and don't crap out, because guess what? You need a job and all the hybrid and remote stuff is not working out for you. You're going back in the office if you want to pay your rent, I'm sure. For sure. Cool. All right. I guess they say the more things change, the more they stay the same, right? All right. So pre and post presidential election anxiety. What a roller coaster ride. Just how tight the race seemed. Biden stepping back, Trump losing his ear. It was
wild.
The election itself was crazy. But then the implications that it all had on the job market. We had Kamala, who was very pro employee and for the people and for the worker. And now you have Trump, who was shamelessly just pro deregulation, pro big business. And he ended up taking the cake. I think that now we're now in a cycle of, we still have a lot of anxiety, but it's now looking ahead, accepting that Trump's way is going to be actually implemented in the new year after he's inaugurated. So what we're looking at is, he's talked a lot about, again, the deregulation of different organizations within government, longstanding union-based organizations, and basically just wanting to advocate for making it easier for big businesses to control the power dynamic between themselves and their employees. We're seeing Trump also be against raising the minimum wage, wanting to remove federal taxes on restaurant worker tips and wages and things like that. A lot of anxiety about what's actually going to happen after January 20th. So I think that's the cycle that we're in right now. I'm personally I'm of the mindset of it doesn't matter who is the president of this country. I'm going to have to continue to elevate my career, my skill set, be the best me. But a lot of people are really flipping out over it.
I feel very different from this presidential election anxiety than I did the first time that he won. I don't know if I've resorted to it's chaos or it's all going to happen, but there seems to be, do you feel there's a little bit more calm in that anxiety than before? Or do you feel anxiety is higher now? Because I feel like we know what we're getting, but also even in his cabinet picks, I don't know if it's just because we're not surprised, so the shock is not there as much. But I do agree with what you said in that there's still a lot of unknown. We don't actually know what's going to happen. Everything that's said on the campaign trail, whether you're Democratic or Republican, is said on the campaign trail, but you really don't know what's going to happen until inauguration actually comes.
Elon and Vivek leading this Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency. Prayers up for my federal government employee friends out here. I think that's something that's driving a lot of anxiety that we don't talk about too much on the show, but definitely a lot of turbulence lies ahead, I think, for anyone who's employed by a federal government agency with that cleanup that they're about to do. So, yeah, we shall see.
Yeah, it's the United States. We're all going to get what people voted for. And I feel, again, what was said on the campaign trail is proving to be different than what is now coming out. And it's going to hit directly where no one wanted it, like lower and middle class. I don't know where that bump is going to happen, but it feels like a lot of things are going to hit those two areas, which was not what was supposed to happen.
Federal government, get ready to start going in office 5 days a week. That seems like a short shot. Anyway, mainstreaming of employee and employer AI leverage. So the rise of AI, this has been a thing for at least the past 2 years now. It sparked a lot of emotions, controversy, competition, and concern is probably one of the more prominent ones to the masses. My job's going to get replaced by AI, et cetera, et cetera. But in 2024, we saw a trend of increased interest in AI ethics and more so engineering and control over it as a tool. Led to some, the anxiety was still there, but we're seeing more people on both sides, employees and employers, more like lean into harnessing the power of AI. Things like workers in marketing, industries like marketing, customer service, even legal. They initially wondered if they'd be outright replaced by AI bots and tools. But now we're seeing more use cases for AI to aid those kinds of roles. For example, you're a marketing professional and you're developing a marketing plan. You can leverage ChatGPT to give you a first draft and then build from there, put your human touch on it, put some nuance on it, content creation, different types of automation. So yeah, we're seeing more of folks leaning into AI as a tool for leverage and less of this big robot that's coming to turn our workforce on its head.
If you look at our season 1 to season 2, we talk about, AI is coming. What's the industries that are most impacted? You think about just 2024, those conversations have changed. Almost that in the beginning of 2024, we were like, oh, this is where we could see it impacting. Now that 2024 is done, I feel toward the end of that year, we really saw if you're not on the AI boat in some sort of way, your company is already behind. I work for an AI company. I was having conversations with some folks who have just departments and teams that are like, I'm actually here to see how we can implement AI more into our company. We are now behind on this trend. And so I think leveraging it in any way to replace jobs, to bring it into the house, to do just more intelligent work faster is definitely going to continue through 2025. And who knows where we'll be at the end of 2025 if what we saw in 2024 was a complete shift from beginning to end.
Yeah, very interesting to get your take on it, Shauna. Sometimes I forget you work in AI, which is really a good place to be right now, I'd imagine.
I'm on the boat. I'm on the boat.
Definitely. Cool. All right. We want to kick it back to our listeners. What did we miss? All right. Let us know. Visit us at thejobfair.com. We are always interested to hear your takes on this stuff as well. Comment on one of our recent social media posts, what have you. What do you feel were some of the biggest job market trends and breakthroughs in 2024 from your unique perspective? I know that's a bit of a rhetorical question. I'm asking you on a podcast that you're listening to, but think about it and maybe consider getting in touch with us.
And I bet you there's going to be so many different things that we missed because we only pulled out 4. And I feel like there's so much that happens.
It was a big 4 though. We thought about it now.
Yeah, for sure. And the big thing I'm also wondering is how similar or different 2025 will be for this year. So drop us a line and let us know what you're thinking. Have some conversation.
Absolutely. Once again, the place to get in touch, www.thejobfair.com. On all socials, we are at The Job Fair. That's FARE. Give us your feedback. Let us know what you think about the show. And we also are always welcoming different guests, whether you're an employee in the market, job seeker, or an employer wanting to share your unique story on the show. Come to our virtual set. We'd love to have you out.
Thanks for joining us.
Happy holidays and salute. Thanks, everyone.